Hey everyone, it's Foxx from modelmakingguru.com here, and welcome back to part 9 of our build of the 1/60th scale no grade strike Gundam. Right, as in the last episode, when I asked you for questions and answer sessions for the perfect grade Zaku, I got 8 billion questions. In the last episode, I didn't even get through the first page, and it got to about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So I think we'll do another one. We've got some more questions and answers to do, so we'll carry on. I'm doing the decals on this, and it's just taken me quite a while, so rather than give you nothing for a few days, thought I'd do these. Where did we leave off? Right, the next question. We'd answered Ole Kitanenko's comment. Hopefully no one was offended by that one. Richard Champion, what do you think of the clown panoramic? Oh, I think you mean pandemic. Bless. What do you think of the clown pandemic running through the world, especially as we have one in Manchester? Have we? Oh, yeah, we have, haven't we? And are you one of them? You think call me a clown? I know I'm an idiot, but I'm not a clown. Oh, the next bit, he actually says, not to say I think you're a clown. Ah, good, thank you very much. Or anything funny like that. You're saying I'm not funny? Oh, damn, I'm in the wrong job. I'm doing this all wrong if I'm not funny. Anyway, yes, silly nonsense. It's weird. It is. I have no idea where this came from. I mean, I don't really follow the news much. I don't have time, so I'm not really kept up on. I'll do the next decals. We're going to do some, just to go off on a tangent, we'll do some third-party decals. Now, I've got these little warning ones, and they're perfect for thruster exhausts. Now, I can't put them here or here because they haven't been joined up yet, and I can't join everything up until I've finished everything else because of the metal, unprotected metal finish, so I'm going to put them on the sides. Yeah, I don't know where this has come from. I don't catch up on the news, and then my mum, actually, bizarrely, seems to be the source of all my news at the moment. She follows a guy on Facebook, I think, or Twitter. He's a taxi driver in Liverpool, and he videos just him in his cab, and he talks to the viewers, and he talks to the passengers, and he's apparently quite a sensation. But yeah, he mentioned it once, and I was like, what's this about clowns? And apparently, yeah, there's a thing at the moment, people dressing up as clowns and doing weird shit. I have no idea. It's weird. It'll disappear within a month or two, I suspect. I think it's like the horse face thing that came when Google Street Views first started. It's that kind of weirdness. But yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little creepy. If you're one of those people that has a fear of clowns, I don't really care enough to be afraid of them. But there are people that are actually scared of clowns. And they're kind of menacing as well. And there's a potential, especially in Britain, because we know what we're like. Let's not deny it, folks and followers in Britain. We know what we're like. We know exactly what we're like. There'll be somebody out there that gets tanked up and goes out and does something stupid. You know, mugs someone or commits a crime. It will happen. There's enough mouth-breathing chavs out there that it's just going to go wrong. So I don't know where it's come from. It's just weird. It's just, I don't get the... And even the practicalities, like, okay, I want to go out and do the clown thing, okay? But I don't want people to know who I am. Okay, how do I leave the house and get to wherever I'm going? How do I do that? I can't... Do I get changed? Do I go somewhere and then get changed in the bus station toilets? And then, how do you... Not that I want to do it anyway. So yeah, what is that all about? If any of you out there are a clown and do this, I mean, not like a clown for a living. I mean, you're one of these people that... Ow, stabbed myself with the tweezers. If you're one of these people that does the weird clown meme thing, just post in the comments and tell us what it's all about. It's just about fun and silliness, I know, but unfortunately, you know what the British... Well, if you're outside Britain, you won't, but people in this country will know what the British media is like. They'll make anything into a major crisis and catastrophe. No doubt the Daily Mail will blame it on immigrants. The Express will somehow link it to a member of the royal family. The Sun... Well, nobody really cares. The Sun will just be the Sun. But yeah, I don't know where it's come from. So, very strange. And it kind of makes me glad I don't follow the news anymore. I used to, just on a side tangent, I used to watch the news all the time. I used to be very into current events and current affairs and things like that. See how these are going on now. As you get older in life, those of you out there who are younger than me, I'm 45. Those of you much younger, who may not necessarily take an interest in current affairs and politics and all that kind of stuff, as you get older, you will. Trust me. Especially if when you get home from work, and it's time for the news, and you get in and you just slob on the sofa for half an hour before you have your tea. And you think, what's on telly? And it's the news. Oh, I'll just watch the news for a minute. And then, you know, interesting things are happening. Nowadays, news is generally not that interesting to watch. So I find out all my shit like a month late. I didn't even know about it. I was like, what's this about clowns? What? So how are we looking? What do you think? Think that's lined up? I don't know why I'm asking you, because you can't tell me real time. No, it's not, actually. I can see it's not. No, that one is too far away. Yeah, so it's weird. I don't understand. And it's because I'm old. Get off my lawn! Probably one of those scenarios. Let's line these up with that. Now the question is here, do I line it with this edge, which is angled, or do I line it with that edge, which is angled differently? Which one looks weird? Straight there, or... I don't know. I think straight here probably looks more natural, even though it's not straight with the edge. I'll go with I don't know. See, this is straight to that edge, but then that is straight to that edge. That makes more sense. But then it's not lined up there. God damn it. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll line it up with the big edge. Or have we not done that? I'm trying to line it with the other one and my brain's actually gone into brain fart mode. That's lined up there. That's lined up. That's about right, that'll do. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, the Daily Mail will blame it on immigrants. Guaranteed, 100%. Next question. Wayne Larson. Hi, Wayne. Wayne is the chap that sent me that fantastic, absolutely brilliant BB Senshi SD Kshatriya. So cool. That'll be filmed for the Patreon channel for a build for them. So if you're not subscribed to that already, as in you're not supporting me on Patreon, think about it. That'll be an exclusive Patreon video series. Plug, plug, plug. So people who support me on Patreon will be able to watch that. Sorry. Shameless shilling there. Wayne Larson, who got you started in the modelling? I like that, the modelling. What was your first kit? I've got to do those with the decals. Where did I put them? Oh, they're on there. Let me just get these wet again, because I'm kind of waffling on here and forgot I've got a whole load of decals to sort out. Hello! See, I get so excited doing these things, it's fun. What was your first kit? If you could pilot a Gundam or mobile suit, what would it be? Right, well, who got started in model making? I think I've answered these before, but I'm happy to answer them again. I don't really know how I got started in it. I mean, generally, I think it was just a thing of my time. I was born in the 70s, the 1970s, just shut up, Busby. And at that time, when you're a kid, we didn't have no internet, no cool TV and stuff like that. At that time, there wasn't a lot to do. You had toys to play with and stuff. Obviously, you had toys and things. Basically, as a kid growing up in northern England in the 1970s, there was things like Action Man was your action figure of choice. Based on G.I. Joe for our American cousins, but much better. Because it was all World War II stuff, let's be honest. And I've said this before, Action Man after about the 1990s just became a crappy eco-warrior nonsense, doesn't carry real weapons. When I was a kid, I had an American GI outfit for my Action Man, which was a proper, 101st Airborne helmet, M1 Durand, rifle, the full stuff. It was proper good stuff. And I had a proper Wehrmacht uniform for him, so he had the proper helmet, style helm, he had the proper MP40 machine gun. It's brilliant, it's great stuff. Trucks and tanks and things. I'm going off on topic again, aren't I? So you had Action Man, there was obviously Scale Extric. Americans may know it. Similar kind of thing as, you'll know Scale Extric, but it was also, I think, Aurora was the American version. Sort of stuff. Is this lined up? Yeah, near enough. What else was there? So there wasn't a lot to do. There were a few like little sort of electronic games. But they were like battery operated. There were no real, it was towards me getting to like 7, 8 years old that video games really came in. When I was a little kid, we had a Binatone Pong system. really, I've still got it, or we'd only recently thrown it out because it was knackered and didn't work, but still had it recently and we got it working again. Proper old binatone Pong. Then, you know, one day we upgraded to I think an Atari 400 in the mid 80s. But other than that, we never had an Atari 2600 or anything like that. So there wasn't a lot of, in terms of video games. Those things like Scale Electric, and you had Meccano and Lego. Even Lego was a bit crap in those days. So there wasn't a lot to do. A lot of the time you were just going out and playing with your friends, which is, you know, was a great thing because you're out and about, falling out of trees and all this kind of stuff. But in terms of hobbies and pastimes, there wasn't a massive amount. But one of them was model making. I can't remember how I got into it. I think one of my brothers had made some models. So there was generally a model kit lying around. And this was like Airfix, you know, a Spitfire or a Hurricane. They were crappy kits by today's standards. But hey, this was the 70s. So there's always an interest there. There's always, at some point, somebody doing something. And I just started making them. You know, I was a little kid. I just glued them together and broke them. That was about it. But then, I didn't set my timer, did I? 11 minutes. But then, one day, when it was sort of late 80s, I think, I've been doing it for years. I've just been making them and putting them together and playing with them. I wasn't painting them or anything like that. I've told this story before. My dad says to me, right, you've been making models for years. What I want you to do, I'm going to take you to a model shop. You're going to do this properly. I'm going to take you to a model shop. You're going to get the paint. You're going to get the kit. You're going to build it carefully and paint it. And it's going to be a model to show off, not a toy to play with. Because before I was just making toys, basically, for myself. So he took me to a model store in Manchester, and I can't remember what it was called. It's gone now. And he bought me a Russian T62A. I could have that wrong from memory. T62A at 135th Tamiya battle tank. And he bought me a few Tamiya paints. And that was it. That was the first kit I ever properly painted. A Russian T62A. And I had like 3 or 4 paints. I had like a German grey, a olive drab, and I think some of those. I had great fun painting it, painting the pilot, the driver, the figure. And that's where it started. That was my first serious kit. If I could pilot a Gundam or mobile suit, what would it be? Don't know. I mean, the thing to bear in mind is I do love my Gunpla, but I'm not really that familiar with the animation side. I've watched Gundam. Well, I've watched 6 episodes of Gundam Wing before I gave up on it because it broke my brain. I've watched Unicorn to its entirety, the 30-part series. I've watched Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try. Love those bits. I've watched the original Mobile Suit Gundam. Once you get past the animation and the shonky English voiceover, it's actually a really good story. Favourite Gundam? I'd say, if I could pilot any Gundam, it'd have to be the Freedom. Not the Strike Freedom, just the Freedom. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to stand there and spread them wings out and be like, haha, big wings, yeah. So, yeah, it'd be the Freedom, I think. Because it's based on the Strike, and the Strike's kind of, at the moment, my favourite, because it's awesome. Right, now I've got a question here for you. Where am I going to put that? I don't know where to put it. I've got the instructions from the Perfect Grade kit that I can't read because they're too crappy quality, as I showed in the previous episode. I've got a load of photographs from people online, but nothing shows where I can put that. I'm going to try and find somewhere to put that. I also can't put these. These are supposed to go on the blue torso, but they're black. So, well done. I can't put that on the blue torso. I might put one of these on the shield. I'm going to find where to put this. It's got to be somewhere where there's a one-off location, like the crotch or the butt, or, you know, you can't have it on an arm because then it wouldn't be on the other arm. So, while I'm trying to decide, let me get the next question. Is that all the questions on that? That's all the questions on that page. Page goes in the bin. Right, I've decided. I'm going to put it on the butt. Wow, that's got the Sank logo on there. I'll put it on this side. I've only got one of them, so it's obviously a one-off decal, not something that's got a left and a right counterpart. So, what the hey? And I know you're all watching it now. There's somebody out there who's got this kit, who's got the Perfect Grade Strike and knows exactly where that goes. You go, no, it's supposed to go in these other places. It's not supposed to go there. But I don't mind. Right, let me set the timer this time. There we go. Right, so, what was it? Oh, yes. So, Norazar Mtahir, sorry, did I pronounce that right? Norazar Mtahir. Do apologise if I get it wrong. Do you ever build full or conversion resin kit before? I have built 2, like I said. I have built a small Verlinden figure. Verlinden make small resin kits of figures. Put my goggles on so I can see. This makes small resin kits of figures and things like that can accompany your kits in various scales, anywhere from 1/16 to 1/35, I think. They're beautiful, beautiful sculpts. And I have made one non-figure, which is the... Oh, I'm blanking on the name now. I forget who made it, but it was the Gemini Freighter from Battlestar Galactica, the rebooted series, and it was based on, if I remember correctly, based on the CGI. I'm cutting off camera, by the way. It's based on the CGI ship from the reboot series, with a little bit of the original series one thrown in. And it looks really cool, but it's literally about 2 inches long. It's tiny. I didn't realise it was quite so small when I bought it. But it's a tiny little thing, and that was fun to build. But I'm not a big fan of resin, because although you can get exquisite detail on resin kits beyond what you can get on plastic kits, downside is it's resin. Before you even start to assemble it, there's a lot of cleanup to do. You'll have moulding marks, you'll have little pits and bubbles where there's been air. If you buy a kit that's been in production for 2 or 3 years, the first generation of kits taken from the mould will be exquisite. Towards the end of the life of that mould, they'll get a bit ropey. You can get warped and bent details. You can all kinds of problems. You've got to do a lot of cleanup before you build it. The second thing, and this is the same with the B Club Gunpla. The B Club is Bandai's line of resin kits. I don't think they do them anymore. The second problem is the actual build itself. Resin, you can't use normal cement. You have to use CA glue, super glue. And the problem with that is that I found that you don't have the freedom to move parts around. If you put glue on it and put it together and then wiggle it a bit and then it's done, and then if it's not lined up, you forget it. Also, especially for things like joints, if you want to make sure that the kit doesn't fall apart after a year, after 5 years, when the CA glue decides to fall apart and shatter, you have to reinforce a lot of joints with metal rods and things like that you have to scratch and custom yourself. It's just a lot of hassle, and I really can't be bothered with it. Resin is just... it's like Marmite or Vegemite to our Antipodean cousins. You either like it or you hate it. If you can get past the complexity of building the damn thing and making it, then you'll be rewarded with an exquisite looking, beautifully detailed kit with lots of fine, crisp details. But you've got to get past that initial labour of love to get to that point. And frankly, I just don't have the patience for that. I've done it. I'll be really honest, it's not my forte. I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't happy with the results. So there's 2 ways you can approach any craft, like model making or music or writing or drawing or whatever. You can either know your limitations and try to surpass them, do everything you can to get better, to learn, or you can accept your limitations and just avoid that situation entirely. Now, neither are wrong, neither are good nor bad, but to me, this hobby is about fun times, a relaxing pastime that takes me away from the real world. And frankly, if I'm not enjoying something, I'm going to stop doing it. I'm not in this for the challenge, really. I'll accept some challenge, obviously, otherwise I'd just snap these things together and never paint them. I'll accept some challenge, but I'm in this for the fun. I'm not in... This decal's been a real pig. Right, get wet. Get bent. I don't know. I don't want no challenge when I make a kit, but I don't want a challenge that's going to be absolute living torture. And it's another reason why I'll never, ever, ever make that Revell U-boat again. Because the issues with that kit, it being a Revell and therefore basically crap, meant it was not an enjoyable experience to do at all. I built one for myself. I'd vowed never to make another. Then a very kind gentleman offered me money to make one for him. So I'm like, I like money. I will make another one for you. and it came out better than my original one, I'll be honest. Is that lined up? No. Oh, do you know? But it was not an enjoyable experience the first time, and it was an even less enjoyable experience the second time. And I vowed I would never make that kit again. And it's also the reason that I'll never really make a kit twice if I can avoid it. Because the fun of making a model is learning and exploring. This kind of contradicts what I just said, but learning partially and exploring and learning how the kit goes together and all that kind of stuff. It's an adventure every time. If you have to make it again, by default it's easier because you've already built it once before. That was quite good. I'm quite pleased with that. Getting a bit fussy on the old skirts, but you know, hey, I put the if I can pick it up, I put those things on there on the front skirts because I didn't know where else to put them. Same situation. So yeah, we're getting a bit fussy, but it looks good. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so yeah, making a kit the second time, yes, it's easier, yes, you know what you're doing, but that takes some of the fun out of it. It's going by rote then. And that's why I'd made a Destiny Gundam Extreme Blast Edition for someone, and that was an out-of-the-box, not painted, little tiny bit weathering build, and I didn't enjoy the build on that at all. It's not Bandai's finest engineering moment. And then I was commissioned to build another one, and again it was a case of, okay, well, I'll happily accept money to build another one. And it was another case of, I've already built this and I didn't enjoy it last time, and I'm still not enjoying it this time. So yeah, so I probably won't do resin again because I've not enjoyed the resin experience up till now, and I don't really have a wish to repeat that. I like to know that I've got a chance of making a half decent model at the end of it, rather than just to go back to the other question from the other episode. I don't want to be in the situation where I have to trash something because it just looks like ass. Right, ankle guards. And next question. What are we on? We are on... yeah, we've got 8 minutes. Marcello Smiraglio. Hey, bene. Nice name. First serious question. It isn't actually, but never mind. Can you suggest the materials and stuff one person needs to start a channel of building like your YouTube? Okay, I'll do these one at a time because it might take a while. You've asked me, in fact, Marcello asked me a lot of questions that were all like really, really long answers. So I may have to be a bit brief, so apologies, Marcello. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you don't actually need that much. I haven't got that much. You need something to film on. You need something to light your whatever you're filming with. And you need something to do to film. Now, you don't have to go out and buy... I need to find some decals for these. I'm just waffling now. I don't even know what I'm doing. Let's have a look. Again, I can't do anything here because that's a join. What would we have on ankle guards? Things on the sides. Oh, I know what we've got. In terms of what to film on, as you probably know, I film on my iPhone 5. Cameras are expensive, and I just happen to have an iPhone 5 that's got a really nice camera on it that does 1080p. So, not feeling a great deal of need. Have I got any gaps, or is that all one big decal? No, I'll cut it. Not feeling a need to go out and buy a camera. Not at the moment, anyway. The one thing I like about my iPhone is that I can change the focus instantly, like that, just by touching the screen and the white balance. I can do that. Now, obviously, you know, I can zoom in and stuff as well, but the beauty of it is I'm looking at the screen on the iPhone now to see what's in shot, and if I think, oh, that's not in focus, done. There you go, that's it. I don't have to mess around with zooming in and out and things like that, so I find it most convenient. Plus, again, it's a phone I already happen to have anyway, which is kind of handy. I'm just cutting decals. So yeah, don't worry about going out and buying the most expensive camera in the world. Lighting wise, more lighting the better. If you're filming, say, something like this, just make sure you have some good light. If you film, say, on a smartphone like this or a digital camera, what you'll often find is that as the light level drops, the picture quality becomes abysmal. If I turn off one of my lights, yeah, that's just one. I've got one on the left and one on the right. That's pretty bad. Now, I've only got 2 lights going. Hang on, let's put a third light on. There we go. I've got 3 lights. I have 2 little desk lamps, and I have an overhead angle poise lamp that I also attach the camera to, which is why it's not usually on, because otherwise it just explodes the picture. So lighting is the most important thing, because if you haven't got good lighting, or if you've got low lighting, and if you use a smartphone, you'll know this straight away. Go out and take a photograph in the evening with your smartphone. It'll be grainy and low resolution. Why? Because the CCD chip, the thing that takes the picture, isn't getting enough light. And phones and things are a bit rubbish when it comes to low light. So, make sure you've got some good lighting. You only really need 2 light sources, minimal. One on the left, one on the right, or, you know, just because if I have both lights on now, I've got a shadow, but it's not too bad. Both my lights are kind of there and over there, so unfortunately I'm working in front of my lights, so you will get shadow hand like that. It's not ideal, but I've got no way around it based on my workspace. If I had lights on the left, so here and here, that might be reduced a bit, but I have to work with what I've got. But there's not massive shadowing. If I turn one light off again, it'll go dark again. Let's turn the other light off, actually. Let's turn the one on the right off. Not as bad when the one on the right's turned off, because the one on the right is further away, so I'm still getting some light, but now I'm getting loads of shadows and you can't see. So you want to minimise shadows. So at least 2 lights. You don't have to be expensive. Any old desk light will do. The only thing I would say is, if you can, try and get some natural light bulbs. And even better than natural light bulbs is natural light LED bulbs, which are expensive, but they'll last you for years and years and years and years. They don't get hot. The reason I say natural light is when I first started out, I had 2 standard desk lamps with standard bulbs in them. And if you look at some of my older videos, everything's yellow. Why is it yellow? Because they're fluorescent. They're not. They're just standard incandescent bulbs. And that just looks terrible. Most digital cameras, incandescent light will come out as yellowy tinged. Plus the walls in this room are actually yellow, which doesn't help. I mean, I could get all technical here about how to, you know, use lighting and stuff and reflect lighting off surfaces and things, but we don't need to go that far. So if you can, something as a camera, ideally, I would set your minimum resolution for the device. Now this is where it gets complicated, because modern cameras and stuff are all in megapixels. Megapixels is basically just bullshit. Nobody knows what megapixel is. Camera manufacturers made it up. It's upside down. It used to go that way. In terms of resolution, when you're posting a video on YouTube, you're looking at actual resolution. Ooh, that's nasty. Ooh, hello. Clean that up. So you're looking at normal resolution. In terms of normal resolution, think in terms of your PC screen monitor. If you're posting on YouTube, if you can, I'm just tidying this decal up. If you can, you want to be at minimum 720p, which I can't remember the specific resolution, but I'll post them up in the thing here. 720p is probably the minimum you want to work at. If you can film at 1080p, even better. So just have a look at whatever device you're using and just make sure it can do, ideally, at least minimal 720p. The reason it isn't minimal is because if you go lower than that, it's just really bad quality images, and that's come off on my finger. That's low resolution quality, and it's not going to look fantastic. And the thing about filming on YouTube, and I may do a how to do YouTube videos at some point, like the tips and tricks. I'm no expert. My videos aren't brilliant quality. I'm filming on an iPhone. I've got 2 lights and that's it. The thing you want to keep in mind is that you want people to watch your videos. Why do you want them to watch your videos? Because if, like me, you monetize those videos, then it's a little way of making money. It doesn't make me much money. It doesn't make me enough to live off. It makes me almost nothing. But you want people to watch the videos, more importantly. Let's actually forget the money bit. It's not really relevant. You want people to watch the videos and enjoy. And you don't want something to get in the way of that enjoyment. And I'm quite, I suppose, snobbish. If I go and watch a YouTube video, and I do all the time because I look up, you know, I like to see what people think of a particular, you know, kit before I buy it. If, say, you've got a channel and it says, oh, look, I've got a review of this kit. And I think, oh, brilliant, that's what I need. I need to know what that kit's like. And I go on and it's dark. And it's dingy. And I can hardly see you. And that's really messed up that decal there, actually. And it's dingy and I can hardly see you. Because, you know, you're filming in low light. I'm probably going to just skip the video and go somewhere else. It's not because I demand high resolution. It's just because I don't want a distraction between what I'm watching and what I'm thinking. And if it's really crap quality, I'm just going to be like, I can't watch that. And there's other things that put me off videos. I won't go into it here. So, to be succinct, something to film on, obviously. Smartphones are fine. Cameras are fine. If you're using a smartphone or a camera, try and get something to mount it on. Now, you don't have to go out and buy an expensive tripod. I mean, mine is literally, I've got a little thing that grips an iPhone, and it's the kind of thing you're supposed to screw it into a tripod, and then it's got like a grabby hand like that, where the phone goes in here, and it grabs it, and that's it. And that is literally duct tape to my angle poise lamp. That's it. That's why I don't move the camera much, because I can't. And that cost me, I don't know, about £5 for the grip thing and a roll of duct tape I happen to have. You can buy expensive mounts and things, but don't worry about that so much. As long as you can have the camera fixed and not in your hand. When I first started out, I literally made a camera mount for my phone out of a biscuit tin and some bits of polystyrene packing foam that I had lying around. And gaffer tape, obviously. And just made a little nest for the phone to sit in, so it wouldn't move. So, camera, at least 2 lights, don't have to be expensive. If possible, get natural daylight bulbs, LED if possible. Again, they don't need to be expensive. Just go for natural daylight. And something to mount your camera or your phone on. Now, one thing to bear in mind is if you're using LEDs or any kind of lighting, there's no real way around this, but in some countries, if you ever see a video where there's like stripes going down the screen, really faint stripes, it's because the refresh rate of the light, whatever you're lighting the scene with, maybe at say 60 Hertz, but your camera refresh rate, the rate at which it takes images, maybe 50 Hertz. That's why you get the striping effect, and that's purely down to the refresh rate of things. So things like strip lights often have a low refresh rate, which means you will get that striping. So if you can avoid things like strip lights, if you get some LED bulbs and it's doing that, then you'll have to go for incandescent bulbs. So you learn all kinds of things on here at the moment. Got a couple of minutes. I'll probably carry this over to the next little section. So anyway, what we're on? Camera, lights, and somewhere to work. Other than that, that will be the bare minimum. Obviously get yourself set up on YouTube, which is free. And then just start making films. Now the trick is how to make those. I'll probably go on this a bit more depth actually, because I may as well, because some of you might want to do this. Now I know a few of you have actually started up your own YouTube channels after following me, and others. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. So let me pause the video. I'll get this off the phone and make space on the memory, and I'll restart the clock. So back in a moment. And we're back. Right, now I've actually forgotten where I was up to on that one, because there's been about a 10-minute gap, because I had to upload that video to the PC and then I had to post to Facebook and Twitter and Patreon. So forgive me if I copy myself. So what did we say? We need a camera device of some sort, as long as it can do it minimum 720p. Lighting, 2 lights minimum, more better, but don't worry. So, and then obviously some way of recording the sound. Now if you're using a smartphone, that's kind of handy because it's got a microphone built in. If you're using a camera, more often than not they have a microphone built in. Just make sure to do some testing first, so you can figure out when you can actually be heard and when it's too quiet. This phone, I know if I'm really, really close and I talk too loud, it'll get really distorted and clippy, and you hear that sometimes. If I stand just a little tiny bit further away from the phone, you can't hear me, which is why I can't do things outside, because if I stand 10 feet away from the phone, you're never going to hear a word I'm saying. So do some testing on the recording option. You'll need something to edit your videos. Now the reason I love my iPhone is I literally plug my iPhone into my computer, pops up into a Windows Explorer, I drag it into a folder, done. That's it, that's importing the video. And then for editing, you can spend a fortune editing software, but if you don't want to and you're just starting out, I just use Windows Movie Maker. It's dead simple, it's really bare bones basic, that's why my videos don't have loads of special effects and flashy things going on, but I'm not interested in making lots and lots of funky effects and everything else. The whole point of watching my videos is to learn stuff, hopefully have a good time. So if I can do spanky, all singing, all dancing effects, it just distracts from it. So, but yeah, Windows Movie Maker is free. You can spend money on video editing software. Windows Movie Maker is kind of clunky and sometimes a right pain in the arse, but it's free. So when you're starting out, just try and do as much as you can for absolutely free. It's the best way to be. That's all you really physically need, apart from something to build and paint and whatever you do. One thing to do, to keep in mind, is how you are on film. You know, you could have the best production values in the world, but if you're not communicating well with your viewer, they're going to stop watching, and you're going to lose that viewer. So, apologies, this isn't in shot. The way I approach it, and I hesitate to give myself an example because I'm not perfect. My videos are really basic. I'm not doing anything funky. I repeat myself a lot. I waffle, I witter. I say a lot. But I do it. You'd be surprised actually how much of I actually edit out. The best way to approach how you present yourself on video is just to, there's an again, it's just to imagine you're having a conversation with your friend. Imagine, like what I do is, I have in my mind that I'm not sitting here talking to a camera with an unspecified amount of people I've never met in real life, but I'm sure I'd have a blast if I did. On the other end, I actually just imagine I'm sitting here and I'm teaching, say, my mate Busby how to do something. I'm showing him how to put a decal on, or something like that. Now I know the kind of things we talk about, the kind of conversations we have and how we talk to each other. With me and my friend Busby, we're idiots. We talk like idiots. So imagine that you're talking to your best friend, basically. Talk the way you would talk to them. Obviously, if that involves lots of swearing and insults, then maybe that's not such a good idea. Go to another friend who maybe you don't swear and insult all the time for jokes. But just imagine you're talking to someone and you're showing them what you do, what to do. Forget there's a camera there. Forget that you're being filmed. Forget that you have to think about how to edit stuff. And you know, if you make a goof and you say the wrong thing, just carry on. You can edit that out later on. Editing is a very powerful option. And again, you'll be surprised how much editing actually goes into my episodes to edit stuff out. Like to edit out, for example, there's already one question I've answered in this, I think in the last video, where the answers I gave were just rubbish basically. So I thought, you know what, I'll just film that one again. It's not easy at first. It can be a little weird. You're a bit nervous. You might have shaky hands, and then you'll be thinking, oh, my hands are really shaky, and then you get nervous. But just don't think about it. Just do it. Just imagine you're talking to your friend. So make sure it's well lit so people can see you or see what you're doing. Make sure you're audible. If, like with me on the iPhone, it comes out quite quiet, just boost the volume higher in the editing software. Don't worry about it too much. What's next? Oh, we need to put some stuff on those. Try, and I know I waffle, I know witter, and it's just literally, honestly, the way I speak. Sometimes I speak too fast, sometimes I just babble on incoherently. Try and just be natural. But not so natural that I'm going to press, that I'm going to hit the camera. Not so natural that I press stop and go on to a different YouTube. Again, I watch a lot of YouTubes to research things like kits and other people's techniques and stuff like that. And the number of times I go onto a video and it looks fantastic and I just cannot tell what the flock the person is talking about. Because either the audio is really, really quiet, or their voice is really, really quiet, or they're just muttering. And I can't remember who it was, and I wouldn't mention names anyway, but I swear I got onto a YouTube video once and I was like, brilliant, this is the only video I can find about whatever that particular thing was. It's the only one I can watch, and the guy's like, yeah, here's the thing. And I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. You're not even using words. And he was kind of talking really quietly. He had a strong accent anyway, but he was talking really quietly. And I was like, I'm not even picking up words. And he was talking in like 99% street slang, which is, you know, his natural way of speaking amongst his friends, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. But when you're trying to communicate via something like YouTube, you've got to appeal to as wider audience as possible. And you can't sit there talking in such a way that only your posse would understand, you know. And I'm like, I'm just turning this video off because I don't know what you're saying. And that, I've never watched one of his videos again. Don't worry if you're funny / not funny. Don't necessarily try to be funny. Comedy is very, very hard to do. And you'll see myself when I go through stuff. Some videos I'll do will be funny. Some videos will be really boring and serious. Let me just talking like right now. I'm not doing anything funny. Don't try and be funny. Just try and be yourself. Comedy will come. And comedy's not actually always that important anyway. It's always nice if you can distract people and give them a laugh at the same time. But don't worry about it. Humour often doesn't travel between cultures anyway, so depending on where you are, it may actually go really well or fail miserably. Let's put some stickers on the back here. Stickers? Oh, I said stickers. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so be natural, but make sure people can understand what you're saying. What else? What else? Yeah, don't do the, if as little as possible, do the I'm going to hold the camera in my hand and wave it round, because no. I don't want to watch your videos and become seasick or motion sick. Have the camera in a fixed place. Sometimes you have to have a handheld shot. I've done it before where I've had a massive model to show a picture of and I can't get the camera. Because my camera is mounted to my angle poise, sometimes the angle poise can't move back enough and I just have to pick the damn thing up. But I'll try and keep it as steady as possible. So keep the camera steady, keep everything in shot. Try and keep things in focus. This is why I love my iPhone, because I can look at the screen as I'm going along. You'll see me every now and then. I'll probably edit it out, but I'll stop, check what's on. I'll be like, and I'll change the focus. And then I mention that to the viewer. I'm like, I'm just going to change the focus. I don't know why I mention it. I just do. What else? What else? Yeah, try not to leave massive, what's called dead air, which is where you suddenly go quiet. I mean, if I'm doing, say, this, and I'm showing people how to do it, then I may have some dead air while I'm doing something and I'm concentrating, but you say to them, I'm going to go quiet for a minute, and then you'll do it. Sometimes you can put music in the background. But if you're just doing the thing, I watched one video last night, and I swear, this is on a different subject, but yeah, avoid silence if you can. Prime example of a bad video. I watched a video last night, and it was a review of a particular kit. And it was the only one I could find on YouTube again. Literally, it was a shot of this guy's room, which is fine. The camera was pointing at the guy, so he was looking at the camera. He was slumped back in his chair as far as you could possibly, so all you can see is basically his head and a bit of his shoulders. I'll be honest, it wasn't a pleasant thing to look at anyway, but let's just move on from that one. It doesn't really matter. There's a reason I don't show myself on camera often. It's like I'm no oil painting, so you don't need to see my face. He had behind him was a shelf which was probably about 7 foot high, so it was way up in the distance. And what he did was he waved this model around for about a minute, a long way from the camera, so he couldn't really see anything. And then he placed it on the shelf above his head in the background, and then continued with the review. And I'm like, I'm not reviewing you. I don't want you. I'm not watching this so I can get a review of your head. I want to get a review of the kit, the model that you've made. But this model's just put up on this shelf in the background. It's this tiny thing in the background. And I'm like, you just don't understand how to do this, do you? So, yeah, that was like, So, try not to draw focus away from whatever you're filming. If you're filming a review of a product, I want to see the product. I don't want to see your face. Necessarily, unless that's part of it. I couldn't believe that. I had to turn it off. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just refused to watch any of your videos ever again. He kind of shot it in the way like you were doing a Google Hangout, which is fine. you know, and there's no problem with doing that. But when you say, for example, specifically reviewing a thing, and yet shows you the thing for a minute and then just puts it back up on a shelf so you can't see it anymore, I'm like, there's nothing there for me. So choose carefully how you film and what you set up. This is why I just do my hands on the desk, because the entire focus of my videos is you want to see what I'm doing or what I'm talking about. You're not here to look at my ugly mug. My ugly mug constitutes no contribution to your knowledge at all. So yeah, I film myself when I've been outside, you know, doing spray varnishing and stuff, but that's because I had to. But other than that, yeah, so try and choose something that's neutral in its aspect, as in you're not distracting me with 18 different things on screen, or in this case you're doing it off the screen because I'm an idiot. You know, you're not talking about one thing but actually showing me something else. This is quite a long answer it's come out, but never mind. We'll do this the YouTube special episode. And last of all, this is one big bugbear. There's loads of other things I could mention, but I'll mention this one. And we'll wrap up this question because I wrap up this episode. Don't film in front of a light source, whatever you do. As in, if you're filming something, again, I want my entire focus to be on what you're filming. So make sure when you film something, this has kind of gone from answering your question, helping you, to here's my bitching about people that make shit videos on YouTube. But hey, it's all helping. People that film and they'd be doing, say, this off camera, like I just done, cause I really do apologise. I'm sure that says caution, remove clearly before operation, but that's got no relevance to this part of this. Oh well, never mind. Let's boost the lighting a bit as well because it's a bit dark. But you see what I'm doing. I'm adjusting as I go. I actually hadn't noticed, I hadn't looked at the screen, but I'm adjusting as I go so I can adjust the lighting. Yeah, people that film and they've got, say, the majority of the screen that you're looking at is taken up with, in the background, their PC monitor, which is a bright light source and completely blows the white balance. White balance is basically, for example, here's this tissue. If I put the white balance on this tissue, that's how it is. If I bring my hand in, it's quite dark down there. So if I do the white balance again, it adjusts that. The white balance is basically saying, telling the camera this is white, and it adjusts its lighting. So if I pull out the way and say, right, this is white, it treats that as white, and all the whites get overblown and blown out. See how that's blown out? So it's always good to have a reference shot for white balance. So if I suddenly pulled the camera up and there was a computer monitor there and set the white balance to that, everything else will be overexposed. So, and this is underexposed, this shot. So yeah, don't have your camera pointing at a computer monitor in the background, nor a bright window. Film with the sun behind the camera. If you've got sun going on, if you point a camera in the direction of the light, you're not going to see anything. And one last little tip before we wrap this episode up. Music. If you're going to use music in your videos, make sure it's copyright free, absolute license free, at the worst, at best, Creative Commons license, so you can actually use it. Incompetech, put the address here, is a great source that a lot of people use. Don't go and use your favourite song from X artist, because all that will happen is YouTube will rip your video down in minutes and you'll get a strike against you. And if you get 3 strikes, your YouTube channel is wiped out. Don't use copyrighted music. Don't use copyrighted sound effects. Don't use copyrighted material of any kind if you can avoid it. Because your video will be pulled, your channel will be wiped. And if you're using it to make a living, bad news. So, and if you must have music in the video, again, don't have it in the background while you're doing something. As in, what I mean by that is you can have background music, like I do sometimes, but don't be filming you to say, I would never film me doing this with my stereo on in the background playing whatever. For 2 reasons. One, again, it'll get pulled by YouTube and they'll rip your video down because it's copyrighted. And second, it's really annoying. Again, make sure your viewer is focused on what you want them to be focused on. Change the lighting one more time. There we go. You're communicating something to your viewer, you want them to focus on that. I don't want to be listening to a tune in the background that may not be to my taste. You may really like that particular form of death metal, but if it's not my taste of music, I'll be like, I don't listen to that, and I'll go off and watch something else. So again, if you're going to use music, use copyright-free or Creative Commons music. And if you do use Creative Commons stuff like music or sound effects, make sure you put the credits in your YouTube channel description, in the YouTube description for that video, and if you can, in the credits or the titles for that video. Make sure you're saying in the video, I've used this particular piece of music or this sound effect, it is under Creative Commons license, whatever, here's where it's from. And normally when you get like Creative Commons stuff like music and sound effects, that website will tell you what you need to put in your video. That's A, so you're doing what they ask you to do, to use their music for free, or their sound effects, and also it's covering your arse so that YouTube can see it and go, oh, it's alright, it's Creative Commons, it's fine, we'll leave them alone. Also have a hunt around for public domain stuff, the little 1940s stuff that I use every now and then. That's public domain music, it's public domain film, archive film, so there's no copyright at all, I can use it however I want. So that's going to do it for this little episode again. I might do one more Q&A because I've really got loads of questions. I've got so many questions. That was a really long drawn out answer, and I know you've asked me a couple of other questions. We'll get to them in the next one. That was a really long drawn out answer, but it's kind of worth answering long and drawn out because there's a lot of things people do on YouTube that, for example, make me not want to watch their videos. And if you're going to go to the effort of making a YouTube video, I don't want to be put off. You want people to watch it, so do everything you can. But in terms of kit, camera, lighting, your own person, something to do, and just keep things in shot, keep it clear. You don't worry about making it interesting, don't worry about that so much. If it's a subject that's of interest to someone, they'll watch it regardless. Don't worry if you're not interesting or if you're worried about that, forget it, it doesn't matter. They're watching because they want to see you do a thing, not because they want you to be a comedy genius or, you know, the most interesting man alive. They're watching for what you're doing, so don't worry about that. And do a few videos, stick them on and make them private. Let your friends and family see them, see what they think, get feedback from them, and then put them out to the wider audience. But yeah, let me go off and do some chisel. We'll come back and we'll do another Q&A because I've still got, not even finished the second. That was the second question on the second page. So I'm going to get a lot of material out of all these questions. Thank you so much. Right, let's crack on, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao bella, adios amoebas.